Hi, everyone, and welcome to ESL 3-4. This week's topic is friends and family. So let's get into this. We're going to review past tense and irregular verbs. We're going to discuss family relationships. We're going to distinguish between before and after, and we're going to do a review of do and make, get, and take. So in your slide deck, you can watch this fun rap video talking about a lot of the irregular verbs just to get in the spirit of the irregular verbs. And then there is also a list here of our irregular verbs from ESL Lounge that you can click on. So with our regular past tense verbs, we add the ed ending, but with the irregular verbs, there's not very much rhyme or reason, and you have to memorize the different versions of them. So it is a little bit of a task, but let's just focus on a few words to start with. So we have do, make, get, and take. And in the past tense, they are did, made, got, and took, right? And we often use these with some regular phrases. So we can say, do the laundry, you need to do the laundry, or did you do the dishes? We make lunch, or we make the bed. Yesterday I took a nap, or yesterday I took a shower. To get up, right, or to get dressed. So these are our normal combinations, our normal phrases. So we're going to look at some of those. They have some examples for you here in the present tense and the past tense. So read those over, think about those. Oh yeah, that does make sense, right? Yesterday or last week, right? I have to use the past tense verb, right? But let's look at it in an example. So we have here Norma's morning schedule, and all the verbs are in the present tense. So what you need to do is to change them to the past tense. So we'll fill in the blank. So we'll say at 6 a.m., Norma got up and took a shower. At 6:15, Norma made coffee, right? And on it goes. Fill it in with the correct past tense verb, because we're talking about early in the mornings on a different day than today, in the past, that she did all of these things. And then we're going to talk about the schedule using also before and after. So we are pretty confident, I think, of before and after, right? So we can say Norma got up and took a shower before she made coffee. Norma got dressed after she made coffee, right? So you can go back to her schedule, but they're pretty much all in order, right? So use got, made, did, or took to talk about Norma's schedule and practice some of the most popular irregular verbs. All right, favorite part of the lesson every week, charts, graphs, and data. So we have our circle of friendship, right? We're going to talk about our family, our friends, and some relatives can be in the same part of the circle of friendship. They're not super close to us. We have people I see regularly, so your neighbors, maybe your coworkers, people who are paid to help me, right? Those are your friends. Those are still helpful people. What about the person that makes your coffee at the coffee shop every morning, right? And then we have strangers, and then there is the unknown outside of the strangers, right? So who are you closest to, and what is the difference between a friend and a family member? And do sometimes those merge together? All right. And then there's also another chart for you to look here. This is kind of like a family tree, a little bit modern version of a family tree. So we have ourself, and then our offspring, and then above us are our elders, the people who we come from, right? So check that over, and then just fill in the sentence with before or after. Okay. So let's look at a family. So we have a family here. We have Mr. Polly, Sarah, Mike, Norma, Daisy, Sandra, and baby Polly right there, about to be born, right? And so in relationship to baby Polly, this is baby Polly's mother and baby Polly's grandma and baby Polly's uncle and baby Polly's aunt, and on it goes, right? But if we're talking about a different family relationship, so we start with grandpa. This is Grandpa Polly's wife. This is Grandpa Polly's son. This is Grandpa Polly's daughter and Grandpa Polly's grandson, right? And if we talk about from the perspective of Mike, we could say, well, this is Mike's sister. This is Mike's mom. This is Mike's dad, right? So our family relationships change dependent upon what other family member we're talking about, right? The relationships are different from different perspectives. So think about your family tree, just starting with yourself, and you have your back to your great grandparents, but you could also go down in the other direction, right? You can talk about your children or your nieces or your nephews, right? Just draw it up to think about it, and then we'll do a little bit of writing. So there's an example here that you can read over. We're going to talk about our family in the past tense, and we're going to try to use irregular past tense verbs. So we'll write a little bit about this in the quiz this week. So be prepared for that. And let's take our break. Let's chill out. Let's relax. Let's have a bit of an intermission and we'll be right back in a sec. All right, let's get back to work. So we're going to do a little practice talking. So we're going to talk or write about our lives. So we have here just a bunch of sentences of things before the pandemic, right? So in the past tense, I worked 5 days a week and attended class at night, right? And on they go. Do you have some sentence frames? So you can say, before the pandemic, I did this every day. Before the pandemic, I did this often. Before the pandemic, I did this occasionally, right? And I did not do that. And before the pandemic, the world was what? Use an adjective, describe the world, right? They also have some sentences for you to think about for after. So you can use either the present tense or you can use the future tense, depends on what you think about when the pandemic is over, right? And so the sentence frames read, after the pandemic is over, I will such and such, right? Just as a review to last week when we were doing future tense, right? But you could change these up to be in present tense if you want, because it's really about you generating your own sentences and practicing talking out loud. Like say the sentences out loud, right? Okay. And then let's just talk real quick about slang expressions and confusing words this week. We're going to do hello, goodbye, and thank you. So there's a lot of ways to say hello. I could say, hey, how's life? Good morning, or good afternoon, afternoon. Sup? It's like, what's up, right? Sup? How's it going? What's shaking? What's going on? What's up, right? To say goodbye, it was nice to meet you. Take care. See ya. Later. Cheers. Catch you later. Take it easy, man. It's nice to meet you. Have fun. Good night. Or ciao, right? Talk to you later. But then we also have our thank yous on here. So we might could say, I owe you one, or right on, thank you, right? That's really nice. Much obliged, cool, thanks, I'm in your debt, right? So these are all ways to say thank you. In your slide deck, there are some blank comic strips. So in the first one, have two people say hello. He could say, what's up? And he could say, morning, right? Whatever you want to fill them in with, just think about it. And then on the next slide, we're going to have this guy ask for a favor, right? So, can I borrow your car? Can you lend me $5? Do you mind babysitting my kid tomorrow, right? Well, what would the guy say? Up to you. Yes, I will. Or no, you can't. Or I don't know. Let me think about it. Put in your conversation. And then at the end, we're going to probably just say, all right, thanks. Or, all right, see you later. What would we say? How could we make a small conversation? Fill in those speech bubbles. Think about a conversation. All right, we're going to go on to the reading. So if you're sticking around, we'll be here. And if we're leaving, then we'll see you in class. All right, be right back with the reading. All right, thanks for joining us for reading. This week, we're going to read about a husband and wife who are together again. This article comes from News in Levels. You can check it out by clicking the link. It will take you to the video that is pictured right here of the couple reuniting. All right, let's get into it. So, Gordon and Mary Davis are both 89 years old. They got married 68 years ago. Before the coronavirus pandemic started, Mary was living at home and Gordon was in a care home. Gordon fell ill and he needed to go to the hospital. During the pandemic, Mary moved into a care home in Mansfield, UK. It was not the same care home which Gordon stayed at. It meant that the couple did not see each other for months. Oh, it's very sad. They were in separate retirement homes or care homes, right? They have some questions here. How old were Mr. and Mrs. Davis? How did they end up being separated? How long were they separated? And what country do Mr. and Mrs. Davis live in? All right, answer those questions and think about it. All right, part 2. It happened that there was a room available in the Mansfield care home. Staff wanted to surprise Mary, and they did not tell her that Gordon would move in. When the couple saw each other after such a long time, they both started to cry. They were happy to be together again. Oh, so true. And if you watch the video, you can really see how happy they were. You could tell they really loved each other. It's very heartwarming. I started to cry. So check out the video and see how you like it. All right, we have in here some vocabulary words from the story. Look them over, read their definitions, and then use them to fill in the blanks of this story. All right, that's all we have for for this video this week. But there is also, just so you know, all of the irregular verbs in English are at the bottom of your slide deck, along with accompanying pictures to most of them. So check them out, see which ones you know and you don't know. No pressure to learn them all at once. Just work on a couple at a time. All right, bye, y'all. See you next week.